Welcome back to Copa America, ladies and gentlemen. We have a fresh best of 3 on our hands. This is from the Qualifier 2 finals of the winners match. Spawning here in the top right corner of the map from Evil Geniuses, the blue Protoss player Huck.
In the upper left, as the red Zerg, it is JimRising.
And due to the fact that I have inevitably done this in every single instance of casting Huck, I'm going to apologize to him and any of his fans in advance for the odd time I'm going to accidentally call him Puck. I don't do it the other way around, but for some reason, it's only when I cast Huck that I say Puck. So, not at all intended here before we get into anything. But JimRising, a really talented player. He's probably one of the better players from the Chaos Latin Gamer clan. He's also a really fun guy in general. We've had him on baseTradeTV for some show matches in the past. Here in Copa America, though, obviously, is going to be kind of his home turf, looking to shine and knock out one of the big North American names. Now, granted, before we get too far into this series, it's not that this series is unimportant, but it's more that this is going to determine seeding for group stages. This is going to heavily influence the way you're going to play the rest of your season. And if you lose this series here, you might end up playing a bunch of players you really wish you had into the group stages.
Well, it is kind of important to note that while Huck still feels confident enough in this series, he was, talking about how he just moved, and he's playing on a laptop. Now, if any of you guys have gone from playing on a keyboard to a laptop, you know that, A, the size of what is, probably a normal monitor for most people to a laptop surprisingly makes it a lot more difficult to micro. But most importantly, you guys would know that the flippin', keyboard, if he's using the laptop keyboard, it sucks.
Are you saying laptop like with a B?
Laptop?
Laptop with a P, right?
Well,
which one are you saying? This is bothering me. I'm sorry.
I'm saying laptop, but just I'm not enunciating the P, I guess.
Oh, okay. I was saying, wait a minute.
Well,
what?
It's not like I'm saying laptop, and you're like, what is that?
Yeah,
really?
I have no idea what you're saying. Is this connected to computers and gaming somehow? What on earth are you talking about?
Jesus, freaking. But yeah, so it can be a big deal. It can be just really annoying when it comes to those really intricate micro moments.
Well, I think, yeah, it's the keyboard layout that matters the most, but at the same time, for Huck, I mean, it's not like he's like, okay guys, I don't care about this match, I'm just gonna play on my laptop casually in my bed. Chances are some circumstance came up that he wasn't able to see Nexus firsts on this map, but the same token, JimRising, he's gonna scout the Nexus coming down late, that's why he doesn't want to exactly jump towards a third. Of course, obviously, we'll take one as soon as possible, but for Huck, he's pretty nicely set. One good thing about this... Ooh, that's a real fast Twilight.
Well, look where it's positioned. If a Ling runs up...
That is true. But I guess the Overlord maybe feels confident and safe for the time being. I mean, Huck's really well known for his gateway control, and 9 times out of 10, I would say almost this would be DTs with how fast it is, but with Huck, I would almost say Blink. His Blink Stalker plus his weapon upgrades on them have been one of the big things he wins a lot with on stream. We've seen him do it in a couple tournaments versus Zerg as well. And I think he was trying to sneak this probe in. This was actually kind of cool. Because he had intentionally let the other one die. Well, not intentionally let it die, but with the other one dying, he kind of thought that maybe JimRising would have given up on the chase. He wouldn't have made any attention to the entrance. And if he had snuck that in with a pylon, this could have been very, very deadly.
We've seen at least one game. I really, truly believe we've seen at least one game, casted one game, where that did happen. A pylon got in the base.
Yeah, that was Violet versus Ghost, I think? Ghost, yeah, because this one needed the 4-gate, right?
Did he not still win that, too? He
yeah.
still lost.
But, okay, hang on. This is, the Dark Shrine coming in is a little unexpected for me, personally. JimRising is going to see that Twilight Council was not researching anything despite scouting it, so that may give him kind of hints towards the Dark Shrine. Because you don't have a Twilight Council down and just leave it idle. No, you got to get that blink going, you got to get that charge going, whatever it is you want to do ASAP. Now for him, 2 queens on the ramp in a hold position. That'll keep DTs out of the base, but it won't detect them is the problem. Recognizing that his lair is a bit delayed, he's going to go for a Spore Crawler instead, and I like this choice a lot, actually. But classic JimRising move, Macro Hatchery in the main, and probably melee upgrades coming up in a moment.
I don't like this. This is only one Spore Crawler. It's not even finished. And there's...
It's better than, having no lair and just being like, oops, I'm dead.
Okay, it's always better than that. but you know, he can run past it as there's not a lot of DPS. There's no lings to block. These zealots are gonna try and tank up any like shots that would have maybe killed the DT. Instead, they're just gonna kill coins.
This is really rough for JimRising.
Yeah,
For how much he started to prepare for precisely this, he's actually struggling pretty hard here. Does kill one of the DTs.
Really strong, and zealots combined with them are also very strong. And he didn't go for roaches; it wasn't his plan.
Go for the spine car may cost him his DT, maybe. Another one coming in behind us though, so not too far off. Of course, it's the only form of detection. I'm surprised Huck didn't just walk past this.
Yeah, what was up with that? He could have easily walked past. You know what? He assumed that there was other spore crawlers.
Aha! Well, there was one, but I guess at the mineral lines, yeah, he wouldn't have gotten a lot else done. But JimRising, that looked like that could have been much messier than it was. I do like the addition of the spine crawler. It's not really meant to pick off the DTs, I feel, but more so just in case anything else was coming his way. He doesn't know how much aggression's coming in, and once again, Huck's really well known for his gateway aggression, so that's just something where you don't really know there's 7 gates, 3 gates, 5 gates, whatever amount of gates behind it.
Yeah. What is it going to be, though? With Blink, as you know, not that many gateways and a forge, it is just their nexus.
It's probably just going to be mass stalkers behind it, I imagine. I don't think he's going to go charge that Archon. I think the average player would go charge that Archon, but not Huck.
We've been seeing a lot of players go into a lot of Blink Stalkers. Just, that's it. A lot of Blink Stalkers. Some force fields and zealot coverage, but, you know, there's the type that we've seen where you just immediately go up to, well, this could be bad. You immediately go up to the big guys, the Colossus, the Storm, and now there's the almost purely gateway army that seems to be doing okay.
I can't believe you didn't get that sentry. That was really close. Yeah, the gateway army's been a bit problematic. The thing is, though, again, if you've got really good Blink Stalker micro, you're really going to be able to take on anything, even Hydralisks. A lot of this comes associated with those weapon upgrades, which we do see being kind of pumped out behind this. Not necessarily chronoed yet, but with 3 bases, Huck's going to certainly be able to afford the opportunity to warp in, say, 13 Zealots, if he so damn pleases.
Yeah. I think he's just going to warp in a lot of Stalkers. He could even go for a 3-base all-in, you know, later on, a few minutes. These ETs, not only did they work out in the beginning, you know, fairly well, they're also going to be super nice to have in the long game. Not only just in general, though, as to have, but especially on a map where it is so large, getting all the proxy pylons is almost impossible should Huck really desire to get one down.
And let's not forget, Huck's that guy that puts down those really awesome pylons in weird spots to warp in 7 Zealots from like the corner of the map type thing.
These links.
You know, they knew where he was, you just didn't have detection for it. Again, it's kind of one of those things where I just say, like, look, you know it's there, why can these units not just blindly swipe at the air? Like, you're going to kill it if it's there.
Yeah, yeah.
Being invisible doesn't make you intangible. But again, I guess I would have to deal with squishing lings with buildings, that same level of logic.
Exactly. That's going to be a total of 8 gateways. He was pushing out, he didn't go for anything.
I think him seeing that was actually a pretty big deal.
What can he do? Okay, well, of course he could stop droning. That's a nice thing to do. But he's not going to be able to get Hydralisk out in time, or Swarm Hosts. He's going to have to rely purely on Ling and Roaches in a lot of it.
Right, and that's one of the things, though, where he was really going heavy on drones for a little while. I mean, he stopped, obviously, but his roach production was light. He was mixing some lings with it. Now he's got pure roaches coming out, and finally cleans up the last DT, but I don't know that JimRising is going to be able to hold this without the addition of spine crawlers, and it's too late to start them.
That was a bit of a bold.
But when did he sneak out Burrow? There's no detection.
He's getting the robo right now, but the recall has to happen to save the sentries. Of course, you can run with the Blink Stalkers, but you want to save the sentries even though there only are 2.
I actually really like the addition of Burrow here. I missed that entirely. That's my bad. But this is going to allow him to circumvent sentry force fields, which is really nice. There's so many times where you know, a Protoss player catches that sort of net, and you're just like, nope, Burrow, bye bye.
These Blink Stalkers, while they were meant for a straight up attack, will also just be very good against attacking these high ground, low ground positions. You know, going up to snipe this 4th base.
JimRising is having some mouse issues, I suppose. Looks like it's been resolved. But you know what? Huck didn't entirely dedicate to this. This wasn't like purely a gateway all-in. I mean, we've got Immortals coming in behind this. Level 2 upgrades are on the way. He's still in this game. That wasn't like an all-in that's, oh my gosh, I just did no damage, I lose.
It was all gateways, but you're right, it wasn't an all-in. It was something that he could come back from and, you know, just like we talked about earlier. A lot of Blink Stalkers, almost majority Blink Stalkers, mixed with just a few Sentry Zealots and maybe some Immortals, has been doing surprisingly well. I mean, it used to be that we thought that Gateway units were just absolutely terrible. You could never win any fight against them in any matchup for a very long time. You immediately always wanted to go up to Colossus and Archons. But it's getting slowly disproven. The power of Blink Stalkers is pretty good.
And I mean, the thing that makes it so powerful is the retention of the units. The Stalkers themselves, they're pretty decent damage no matter what they're shooting on, but the reality is if you're not killing any of them, even if they're only getting away with 1 HP, it's still very problematic to get. You can't dive past those lines, you can't push forward. Typically there's Zealots there as well to sort of keep your melee at bay. But Huck is taking a trek here with these DTs, trying to circumvent JimRising's army, and he'll do that for now.
Well, speaking of JimRising's army, it's pretty good. And what also helps out with the Blink Stalkers is, of course, good force fields. If you section off half of the army, that makes blinking back a lot easier, of course. And you still need to be wary of that, even if Blink Stalkers have been, been doing really well.
And like, it's just one of the DTs coming towards that third. Roaches are going to hit 4. Where's that? Oh, no, where's the Overseer? He had an Overseer with the army before.
Looks like he realized his mistake. It's not going to commit here.
I don't think Huck actually killed any roaches. Let's get change here. There we go. The Lings are a pretty big part of this army too, guys. It's one thing you can't undervalue. We do see JimRising go for double the upgrades right now. And he's a player who really makes good use of Lings where most players don't. Coming from the left side, going to distract the top of the Nexus. There's a cannon here to defend. He may need to focus things down, but this tries to go for the right side of the map as well, so Huck cannot respond to both locations too efficiently at the same time, but forces out a cancel nonetheless.
I don't think focusing on the fourth was the best idea. Okay, the third will not go down. I thought maybe it was in serious trouble of doing that, but had he sacrificed, his third
but the Lings come
not
here.
The fourth. He just used the blinks. He's got to wait a while.
Roach is going to go back for that Nexus. I think JimRising's kind of accepted that these units are dead at this point.
Remax on mutas. That's one thing that these a lot of Blink Stalkers can also do well. Except they can take on armies like this fairly well. They can chase, of course, and they can harass. But they also will deal well not only against roaches but also against a potential muta switch. Now you can't just survive with Blink Stalkers. You see people try. It doesn't work. You need Archons for the what you hope would be an inevitable engagement with the Mutalisk.
What kind of works out well for JimRising? Oh, why'd you throw those away? What kind of works out well for JimRising, though, is we got to consider the units that he did lose. It wasn't like he lost Hydralisks or Ultralisks. They were the cheapest, most expendable units you could ever make, and that's Roaches and Zerglings combined together.
Yeah. He still has a big mineral bank, so these Ling Remax is not that difficult. It's low on gas, but only after you're made 20 plus Mutalisk, so that's perfectly okay.
Oh, is he going to try and force out a base trade? This early?
Already? It would be odd to see it so fast.
Yeah, well, this is the recall out of Huck. So, an army here.
He didn't recall enough back. He didn't even recall any Stalkers.
Oh no! He's got nothing to deal with the Mutalisks. The few Stalkers that did recall are going to go down. He pops off an overcharge, but the Mutalisks can fly away from it if they want to. Hell, they're going to take out the Immortals. Hell, they're going to take out the Nexus. The Zerglings have fallen underneath this, however.
Yeah, that one DT still not being seen has really helped out a lot right there. But he's going to lose his third. Now, maybe this will buy enough time for him to warp in enough Stalkers. In fact, I think
Jim's got to get back home.
He's still okay.
Like, he hasn't taken devastating damage yet. In fact, the hatchery's still standing, but Huck is picking off the drones, he's picking off the Lings, nothing can get out of this base. He needs the Mutalisk to defend.
There's also some Zealots of the fourth cleaning up the drones there, but what's so powerful about the Muta attack is not necessarily that they can take on the Blink Stalkers head on, is that eventually they'll be able to because you force them to make a mistake. Huck, recalls too little back home or too much back home, and that might have been what happened here.
I don't know if Huck did enough damage on this either. The hatchery still stands. Granted, he killed a lot of workers. There's no overlooking that, but he's still on 42 drones, and the Mutalisk count remains somewhat unscathed at 29. All he needs is a detector, and he's good to go. Saves the base again. 37 HP. This is a hard situation for JimRising, though. He is investing in more Mutalisks, he's investing in more Lings. I kind of feel like it'd be better off if he droned to try to out macro, just play the harass game, because Huck's got so many cannons down at his base.
There's only 2.
That's true. Oh, there's Archons now, though. This is going to be very problematic for these Mutalisks. Yeah.
So while Huck does survive with enough of an army at home to take on the Mutalisk for now, I don't know if that's really going to be true forever, though. It's the problem that you don't have mobile defense against the the Mutalisk.
Oh my god, these Mutalisks like take the cannons down to 1 HP. They don't quite one volley them. 5
buys
cannons?
the Huck enough time though. Or not. Oh, not. Oh, the Blink Stalkers made a mistake.
JimRising's got a pick though, not get too distracted here. He's also still not joining up behind this guy. He's still stuck on 49, 57 Harvesters. Jim's got to finish that off though. There's no way he leaves that alive. There we go.
Yeah. So not only can Huck not push out, but he can barely defend his own bases.
Oh.
Without Phoenixes to catch the Mutas, the Archons are too slow. They get trapped.
He actually finished off that base. I don't know when, but came there for the killing blow. One swipe of a DT would have done it, of course. But now the overcharge is popped. Doesn't need to dedicate to this. In fact, should probably just go to the main.
Huck needs those Archons to really take on those Mutalisk, and the Archons just can't go between the main and the third.
This pylon depower, though, that's going to be nasty. He does in a bad spot. There's a lot of cannons down here, but oh no, the right side of the base isn't covered! The exact area where the Mutalisks would want to engage on the probes!
The Nexus itself is kind of protected, although I think he could find a sweet spot where he just takes so little damage doesn't matter. He could still snipe his fourth.
Yeah, he could go back to the main at this point too. Yep. Really abusing the terrain to his advantage. Another pylon going to go down. Huck's not going to repower any of these gateways. Huck's production has been absolutely compromised. He can have all the money in the world he wants, but he can't build anything with it. Of course, while this has been going on, this wasn't the only thing happening on the map. Archons get picked up by Lings.
These Archons, well, they're not helping anyways because they can never keep up with the Blink Stalkers and the Mutalisks.
Oh my god.
JimRising is just going to pick Huck apart in this game.
Yeah, he's up to 34 mutas. He's really not bleeding anything out. Huck is in a lot of problems right now, guys. And it's something I've said earlier, like a Phoenix would have been a great thing to have to this, but he was unprepared for the muta swap. He was so focused on the amount of Lings and the roaches that were coming down. We saw Immortals being cranked out. We saw cannons coming down. At the end of the day, though, I mean, again, Huck can't build anything is the bottom line. Stuck on 40 supply, he can build probes if he'd like to, but that's about it. Archons go down on the other side of the field, and I think game one, yep, is about over. GG, JimRising will take the first game.